Today I fucked up by being so pregnant I couldn't see what I was wearing before I went on stage. This just happened a couple of hours ago. I am 8 months pregnant and huge. So I am in the choir at my church, and we were singing a special Christmas song, so everyone was supposed to dress festively. I also had to sing a solo before the message, which I was very nervous for. I picked out a nice red maternity dress with beading on the collar and wore black tights with black velvet kitten heels. I even painted my nails to match. The first service went smoothly. But when I got home, I noticed I had prominent underarm sweat showing on my dress. Great, that's probably what everyone was staring at during my solo, lol. So I was determined to prevent this from happening in the second service an hour later. I took off the dress, dried it off, and changed into some pajamas to have breakfast. I also put on an undershirt, and stuffed a bunch of tissues under my arms so I wouldn't sweat next time. Before I knew it, I was running a bit behind, so I put my dress and shoes back on and hustled out the door. I got to the church a minute before the service started and rushed out of my car. Someone asked if it was too windy for me. We're in South Florida, so I had no idea what they were talking about and continued rushing for the doors. Unfortunately, the service began a moment earlier and the choir was already on stage. I grabbed my songbook and lumbered onto the stage from the middle aisle, to my place front and center with the other sopranos. Everyone smiled at me awkwardly, which I figured was due to my tardiness. We started with a hymn. That's when I realized I felt too much fabric around my legs for the kind of dress I was wearing. I worried that the tissues from my arms had fallen and people could see them stuck to my tights or something. I could not see past my belly easily, so I leaned over to check, as conspicuous as it was to do so. The sight and accompanying horror took a moment to register. There they were, my pink and teal flamingo print pajama pants, still on my legs. And the whole audience sees them. How the freak did I not notice, and how did I get on stage without anyone telling me? I rushed off the stage mid-song and took the offending pants off in the bathroom, then waddled back up to my spot. I couldn't even run off afterwards and hide, because I had to sing a solo immediately after that. On the bright side, my stage fright for that was gone. Too long didn't read, changed clothes in a hurry between performances at church. Unintentionally sang on stage wearing flamingo pajama pants because I'm huge and can't see my legs. No decent person thought twice about it. Except your loved ones. They won't ever forget that. It'll be a cherished memory. Immediate and intense embarrassment, pathos of pregnancy, no permanent physical or emotional injuries. High quality post. Honestly, I'm betting most people were thinking, hell, she's 8 months pregnant. Wear whatever you want. That's a fucking power move. Most people in that church audience were thinking, hell yeah, fucking power move. Oh man. If you are that pregnant, I wouldn't judge you. My wife is very pregnant as well. Prego brain is definitely a thing. Lol. Hope the best for you and the pregnancy. Pregnancy brain is one of those things my wife derided as just faking it until she was pregnant. Pregnancy brain is absolutely a thing. Well, I wouldn't say derided, necessarily, but something that surely wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. It is. Just like nesting. I remember this one story about a woman convinced nesting wasn't actually a thing. Then, apparently, one night she woke up at 2 a.m. absolutely convinced that the couch had to be on the other side of the room. And then another thing and another until the room was back to the way it was before. The dude asking about the wind made this whole post for me. That was classic. Today I fucked up by accidentally taking my boyfriend on his nightmare date. Full disclosure, this happened several years ago, and he is now my ex-boyfriend, but something made me remember this story today. My ex-boyfriend was a big fan of grand gestures and surprise dates. He took me to all kinds of cool stuff to surprise me, like an Obon festival, a special old school Star Trek movie showing, an art museum, even a surprise interstate road trip on my birthday. For his birthday, I resolved to pay him back with his own nice surprise. We had been together for /10 months at that point, so I thought I knew what would suit him. a picnic at a boat a day, a fucked up outdoor conservatory, a walk around the zoo, and the surprise, tickets to a butterfly conservatory, basically a glass dome filled with lush greenery, flowers, and hundreds of butterfly species flying freely. Not this specific one, but this video gives you an idea what it's like. I had always gone to the butterfly house with my family as a little kid and I loved it so much. It was special to me and I was so excited to share it with him. He was having a great time walking around with me by the lakes and at the picnic. I kept hyping him up, saying I can't wait until the final surprise, I hope you love it. You're going to love it. We got to the entrance, they tore our tickets, and I let him in Belle at the library in Beauty and the Beast style. I still won't shut up, trying to get him hyped. Finally, the moment of truth, I took my hands off his eyes and watched him behold the kaleidoscopic beauty surrounding him. Immediately, his face blanched, and he looked like someone had just punched him in the stomach. He was cowering and clinging to my arm when a butterfly flew past him. Are you okay, dear? I'm fine, he said with a classic hide the pain Harold grimace. You don't seem fine? Did something happen? He looked ill and muttered, why would people pay to go to a place people let disgusting bugs land on them? I must have looked hurt because he tried to pull himself together, put on a brave face, and grabbed my arm tight. Before we could even get going any further, he pulled away from me and started shouting, oh God, it's in your hair, it's in your hair. Before I could even tell what was going on, he had tried to run out the exit with employees chasing him, calling wait. We have to check you for stowaway butterflies. It was chaos. Kids were watching him from their strollers. Some were screaming and crying. When I finally caught up with him, he had thrown up in the trash can by the duck pond. I apologized profusely and he said it wasn't my fault, his fear of moths/butterflies just hadn't come up in conversation yet. I couldn't have known. We just kind of stared blankly at the pond until he said, let's just go home. It took me months before I felt comfortable trying to surprise him again, and surprise surprise, I managed to screw that up too. It's the nightmare redux, tie surprise in the comments. Too long didn't read, I accidentally traumatized my moth-phobic now ex-boyfriend by enclosing him in a space with hundreds of butterflies. Edit, sorry, I accidentally deleted like half this post trying to edit it. Dang. I hope I cobbled it back together properly. 1. Please don't be mean, phobias are irrational by definition. It's not his fault. 2. I was really dumb and young in this story and I don't try to surprise people anymore, unless it's something they explicitly said they wanted. I thought it was fair game to try to share something from my childhood because he had taken me to a mediocre Fargo pizza place that was his favorite childhood restaurant just a few weeks earlier. He did also have surprise cheesecake waiting for him when he got back, favorite dessert, so at least the day wasn't destroyed completely. I have a similar story to this on a date to the zoo. I have always loved bats and they had a bat cave enclosure, so I excitedly scooted towards it with date in tow. We walked through the cave and bats were flying everywhere. You could feel them rushing past your face, it was great. The zookeeper gave a little talk, I put my arm around my date and she hugged me tightly, truly an amazing experience. We walked out after 15 minutes and my date burst into tears and collapsed to the floor. Turns out she's petrified of winged animals and assumed they would be in cages. She tried to keep up the pretense so I didn't think she was a psycho. Turns out when she was hugging me she was holding on for dear life with her eyes firmly shut. Naturally I married her. If you traumatize it you better put a ring on it. When my now BF of 5 years and I first started dating, he excitedly told me he wanted to take me on a date to the place where they close you in a room and moths land on you. We had only been going out a couple weeks and I was really trying to seem chill and cool and attempting to tamp down just how horrifying that sounded was the most difficult thing I've ever done. Realized he meant Butterfly Wonderland and was way less traumatized by the idea, but he still insists his way was totally okay way to describe it. Edit. Yeah guys, I get it, many of you think moths are adorable fuzzy kittens of the insect world and I know many are, but today I fuck up like butterflies etc. doesn't change that that's a horror show way to inaccurately describe what he was thinking. Edit number 2, like a third of the comment replies are moth horror stories I can't unsee, so I take back my edit above and am going back to feeling fully totally justified in not wanting to go to a moth cave, thank you very much. Edit number 3, I told my BF that this post blew up and his response was moths are beau today I fucked up and you should love them. Sigh. The place where they close you in a room and moths land on you. Just brilliant. And that's why I start every first date by telling them all of my fears and other potential psychological minefields they might walk into. Then I stare at them expectantly, waiting for them to do the same. I haven't had a lot of second dates. How did you F up the other date? My boyfriend almost did this to me, but my fear or butterflies came up way sooner. I feel for your ex, I understand that fear lol. Today I fucked up by being too good at my job. So this has happened over the last month and half, coming to a head yesterday. I started a new job, admin, about a month and a half ago. I do pretty basic administrative work, check deposits, filing, follow-ups, etc. It's a full-time gig, and it might take me half of the day to do all my duties. I don't know who had this job last, but they fucked around a lot. I try to fuck around and I still get things done super fast. This has led to frustration for me and my supervisor because I run out of things to do, and I have to interrupt her work so she can find things for me to do. BTW, I am not the kind of person where I enjoy getting paid to do nothing. Sure, it's nice on occasion, but not half of the day every single day. Fast forward to yesterday, I ask my supervisor if there was anything I could work on, and she asks me to shut her door. She asks me how I feel about getting my hours cut. Not just by a few hours. She's thinking me being there 25 hours per week. That's significant. Moral of the story, don't do your best because you will get punished for it. TL Doctor, I did my job too well and got my hours cut for it. Edit, thank you to everyone on the real world advice. It does suck, but that's the way it goes, I suppose. My boss called me into his office to talk about the situation. He firstly apologized for suggesting hours being cut before they had a game plan. He made it very clear that he and the company appreciates my work ethic and initiative, and that they do not want to lose me as an employee. Apparently, when they hired me on, there was originally going to be more work duties for me, but for some reason out of his control, that didn't happen. They are going to merge me into another area so I can fulfill a normal working week, not have hours cut, and most importantly keep my pay. No thanks. This is effectively a constructive dismissal. And what kind of question is that to begin with? How would you feel about making 50% of what you currently make? Do you have any other skills that would be relevant for your workplace? You could always offer 25 hours admin and 15 hours of whatever other work you would be able to do. This would likely result in a better title for your CV and more challenging/rewarding work. If they aren't interested, I would start looking for another job. I know this seems bad. It could have gone worse. In my opinion anyway. I used to make fun of an older gentleman that would tell me, never do more than you're asked to do and take your time when you're asked to do something. He would tell me this with a serious face, and he was almost ominous when he said it. I thought he was crazy. Then they fired 2 people and I got their work. They didn't hire anyone else. You're so good at your job. Here, do these 2 other jobs as well. Burnout is a real thing. I switched jobs and changed gears and I'm so much happier now. My anxiety is low and I don't think the world is ending every time there is a problem. I know it feels like cheating if you don't do your best, but unless you're working for yourself, you're not gaining anything by being the best worker bee in the hive. Good luck with your future endeavors. Facts equals you're not gaining anything by being the best worker bee in the hive. This is 100% true. I used to approach work like you, Op. Unfortunately, I learned my lesson too often and too late. In the end, I was given more work, given little to no raises than my co-workers, and not respected by my bosses. The corporate game, no matter where you are, is that you must work smarter, not harder. The ones who get ahead are the ones who are skilled at boosting the boss's ego while being independent and highly competent in their particular job. It sounds counterintuitive that less is more in work. However, that's the way things are when you work for someone else. The real FU is asking for things to do. Better to find things that need to be done and work on those. Or propose a project you can work on when you're not doing daily tasks. Edit, I don't mean to imply that one size fits all. Whether someone can find things to do or propose projects, etc., completely depends on the job and company. It would be more fair to say that the potential FU here was asking the boss for work to do. Figuring things out to do on your own is an important skill. Your supervisor probably doesn't want to constantly be interrupted by someone, even if your intention is to be helpful. Some jobs have downtime built into them because of the nature of the work, where there will be sudden spikes in things that need doing, audit time, for instance, for those who work in administration, but lulls in other periods. They need to keep high quality, technically skilled people available for those spikes, even if it means that the person might be slightly overemployed during other periods. Consider using the extra time to study for something like a certification which could be related to the work you do. It will be productive and engaging for you, and it will at least seem relevant to your job if anyone inquires what you are up to.